Welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live. Yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Y'all, thank you so much for joining me here on this special podcast version of Turn Left. I had to cancel on my guy, my OG, my unc, when I had him scheduled last week, but he agreed to sit down with me for a special interview for just me and him. Y'all, give it up for my guest running for re-election in House District 95, the OG, Unc, John Bartlett. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you for the invite.
Oh, love having you. Look, congratulations for putting your name back on the ballot again, running for re-election. Yo, but what is it? What's going on? Why can't you leave the State House? Why are you running again to serve in our State House?
It's yet work to be done. And I do what folk refer to as the, if you will, garbage work, because it's not popular. It's not something everybody runs toward, like human trafficking. I serve on the Agriculture Committee. And I was even asked by some of my BLC members, Black Legislative Caucus members, why you get on agriculture? Well, I want to know what's going on with our foods. Mm-hmm. And it's so much happening there. And then hopefully get a chance to talk about that here today. But it's just some things that I feel like that nobody really wants to do, and I want to get them done.
You know, I know ever since we began, the first time I sat down and talked to you when I was running for office the first time, you sat me down and you wanted to get a feel for who I was as a candidate, why I was running. You wanted to understand my intentions. Why do, and I know that I am not the only candidate, young Black candidate, young female candidate that you have done that for. Why is it so important for you to find out who our young candidates are, and why do you take the first step to reach out to these candidates?
Well, I have some experience. My predecessor, Mae Dickinson, did the same for me. She told me, she was probably about 5-6 years in, she said, John, when I step down, I want you to replace me. And I was her campaign manager for 16 years.
Wow.
And I have someone following me. So when I step down, I want him to take my place. But we have to bring our young folk along. We have to make sure that they understand the end workings of the political system. The late Representative Bill Crawford used to always say, if you ain't at the table, you're on the menu. And so what has to happen is we need to teach our folk coming behind us, when you get there, you can hit the ground running, because there's so much to learn down there and things move so fast. Mm-hmm. And you just have to know how to make things happen. Like there's been several of my ideas that I've shared across the aisle with Republicans. And I know with us being in a super minority, I could not get it done.
Right.
But the legislation needed to pass. So I would hand it off and I would co-author legislation. And sometimes I would even stay off the bill because it's so delicate. If you just had Republicans there, then it would roll. But with the Democrat, it wouldn't roll. So mm-hmm. like especially in human trafficking, mm-hmm. that's an area that I partner a lot with Representative Wendy McNamara to get legislation passed on human trafficking, because I think that's the worst crime that can possibly be committed.
Yeah, you've been on this one for years, and you have you always have good stats on where human trafficking is. What is the latest update on human trafficking?
Well, first off, the largest human trafficking event in America is the 500-mile race.
Oh.
Yeah. The county where most human trafficking happens in the great state of Indiana is Hamilton County.
Oh.
I said that it was a $210 billion a year industry worldwide, and I was corrected. But then the United Nations put out something about 3-4 weeks ago that said it's a $260 billion a year industry. So it's 5 parts to human trafficking. And if you Google how much of human body parts, which is part of human trafficking, if you Google how much of human body parts on the black market, and I've not checked it in a while, but the last time I checked, your body is worth $535,000. So if I can capture you, cut you open, sell you off like car parts, your heart, your kidney, your eyes, your liver, it'll total up $535,000, and maybe even higher than that now. But and see that for a parent to wake up and their child is just gone, you don't know if your child's dead or alive, if they've been sexually abused, if they're on some slave labor camp, have they been kidnapped and cut open and their body parts sold off like car parts? And then young girls between 12 and 27, that's about the mid-range, they will kidnap them, keep them in cages, breed them, and sell the babies.
What?
Yes. And so, like, not only do you lose a child, but you have grandbabies that you'll never see.
So, I mean, this is insane. Why do you think that it is not being taken, talked about more in the State House? Why are you guys struggling so mightily to craft legislation and get it passed to protect lives like this? Well,
in my opinion, two things. One, in women and children just don't count. Mm. So often, guys feel like women are used for two things, okay? And then they should be subservient. And then children, they can't vote, they don't pay taxes, they can't afford lobbyists, so they have no voice.
And even though we see our State House be adamant about controlling a woman's body, you would think that well, maybe not. I guess it's all part and parcel, right?
If you remember, I had an amendment to that bill that said, if you're going to, and you go on YouTube and Google it, you pull it up now, but I said, if we're going to control a woman's body and reverse Roe v. Wade, then my amendment said it would be illegal to manufacture, produce, sell, distribute any male erectile dysfunction drugs in the state of Indiana.
Wow, that was a bold. I didn't get to see that amendment, but that was a bold amendment. How did you come to that conclusion? Because a lot of guys wouldn't even thought like that.
Well, I feel like if we're going to do this to women, why not to men? It takes two people for a pregnancy to occur.
That's right.
So when you and your mate, she's not pregnant, we're pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay, she's carrying the baby, but we're pregnant. It's our baby. It's our act. And then some even said that if you're raped and get pregnant, it's an act of God.
Yeah.
Okay. So my thinking then was, so if there's some erectile dysfunctions here, it must be an act of God.
Right.
So you don't want to disturb that act of God, don't disturb this one.
Right. That didn't go very well, did it?
It did not. I got a resounding no.
Of course it did. Yeah, you've had the opportunity to serve or be a part of someone who served when we had the majority in the State House. And Absolutely. Now you've watched it where we were the minority and now we're the super minority. Mm-hmm. The struggle, talk about the struggles of being able to actively communicate. I remember a couple of years ago where, they were literally attacking Representative Smith, where they were following him in the bathroom and just being juvenile. How have you managed to, maintain yourself and keep your composure? And because I watch those meetings, I'll text you and be like, Uncle, what they doing? How do you keep your spirits up, because you know that you're fighting for the right reason? How do you do it?
Well, first off, they don't come at me with that mess.
Okay.
Because I'm not having that.
Okay, having that.
Yeah, because don't forget now, I'm out of Brightwood. Okay, so I'm a state representative now, but I'm still Brightwood strong. Okay, Brightwood. So So if you want to get silly, we'll show you what silly is. But it's a professional setting, and we should conduct ourselves as professionals 24/7. And across the aisle, they got not all of them, but some of their members got a little silly. And I wasn't out there when that happened. And actually, one of the persons across the aisle literally tried to hit one of the female.
What?
Yes. And so, and I went to him. I said, "Hey, let me tell you something. I wasn't out there and I didn't see it." I said, "But if you hit a black woman, it's going to be a problem." And he said, "John, honestly, I did not try to hit her. I said, I don't know. I wasn't out there and I'm not accusing you of anything. But please know, if you hit a woman, period, I'll be to see you."
They don't want that smoke.
Uh,
They don't want that smoke. But I mean, yes, that was very juvenile. But we're talking about policies, and we're talking about what's good for the people. How do you manage to keep it together when you see there's policies that are coming down the pike that are going to be harmful, particularly to minority communities or Marion County? They target Marion County all the time. How do you do it?
well, we're in a super minority. I can't control that, but what I will do is when those things come down, try to look at the core cause. See, now, if you remember, cursive writing is no longer mandatory curriculum. Okay. So I'm thinking, why? So what I did is I went back. See, as you know, there was a time in history, if you knew how to read and write, they would kill you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we're moving back in that direction. Now, 20 years from now, our grandkids and great grandkids will not know their rights because the Constitution of the United States is written in cursive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. There was a family in, I'm not sure about the city. I'm wanting to say Santa Monica, but it may have not been, but it's in California. This family went back and did research, and they were able to recover some family land that was taken from them, and that land is valued at $74 million.
Wow. I think
so. What happened to a lot of us in the South was, if we had purchased land and they decided that they wanted it, they would tell you to get off the land. If you did not, the Klan would come at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, 12, 15 of them with guns, drag you out of your house, rape your wife, sometimes your kids, and rape you sometimes in front of them just to humiliate you. So your wife and kids can watch you getting raped and then put you off your land. Now, if you go back and do the research on great-great-granddaddy Black's land and there's no bill of sale, there's a good possibility you can go to court and recover that land.
Interesting.
But see, all that documentation is written in cursive.
Interesting. And you wouldn't even, and because we're not teaching kids to read it, that's just like Latin. They kept trying to tell us that Latin was a dead language, but then most of everything that you see on the monuments and symbols are written in Latin that we've not studied. It's wow. And I'm glad you brought up education, because we're seeing a continual effort to defund public education. We're seeing where, teachers are asking for money, asking for raises. We're having a teacher shortage. And so instead of actually addressing the needs of our public school teachers, we decided to lower the barrier of entry and then add more adjunct teachers. Are we ever going to get to the point where we stop trying to defund public education as long as the supermajority is in place?
Let me say this. We, taxpayers, have an obligation to hold all of our elected officials accountable.
Yes, sir.
We have an obligation to hold all of our elected officials accountable. I am a state representative, but I am your employee.
Say it again.
I work for you. And when we get it twisted, here comes the Honorable State Representative John Bartlett, and everybody applauds. I'm simply a servant, a public servant, and your employee. And when people understand that and start demanding that their employees do good work, this will change. Our educational system, they're dumbing down our educational system right before our eyes. Let me say this to you. One of the most hurtful things that I saw in the legislature since I've been there since 2007.
Okay.
One of the most hurtful things I've seen since I've been in the legislature is we in-lawed permitless gun carry and outlawed books.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me how crazy that even sounds.
It don't make sense. It don't make sense. No permit.
Dana turns 18. She can go to Walmart, buy a holster and a 9mm and put on her side and walk down the street. She's perfectly legal.
Yeah.
But she can't go into the liquor store and buy a beer.
Yeah.
She can't sit down and have a glass of wine with her dinner.
Yeah.
And I'm not advocating for alcohol because I've never had a drink of alcohol in my life.
Wow.
But but just think about the coalition there. You can't buy a beer. And I've never heard anybody die from drinking a can of beer. But then you can buy a gun and you can take my life with the squeeze of a trigger.
Do you, when you're in the chambers with your colleagues and they are talking about this permitless carry and willing to allow anyone to carry a gun, what are the reasonings behind what they're doing? Why are they, please tell me it's not just they're being lobbied and it's the NRA. Tell me that they have some real conviction within themselves. What are they saying to you?
Who is the NRA?
The National Rifle Association, a bunch of...
Who is the NRA?
It's an organization. I'm assuming it's an organization that is a gun club.
Let me help you. Gun manufacturers or the NRA.
Oh, they're not just a gun club anymore.
No, gun manufacturers are the NRA. There's dollars pushing about everything. Now, there was a study done that said, if I, as an African-American, purchase a gun and I kill someone, 95% of the times it'll be another African-American.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So why not give us guns?
But doesn't that study say the same thing, that when white people get a gun, they're typically going to kill another white person? I mean, isn't it about proximity?
No, that study don't say that.
What that study say? What white people do?
I don't know about white people. I study my people. Let me tell you
this. You know what? I ain't mad.
Let me say this, because they kill us.
Yeah.
And we kill us.
Yeah.
The reason why the reversal of Roe v. Wade, 65% of all abortions are had by white females.
Mm-hmm.
New York Times put out an article said by 2035, the European race will become the minority race here in America. So if you can give black folk guns to kill each other, and reverse Roe v. Wade, put more white feet on the ground.
Wow.
Okay.
But they didn't think about they didn't see in their calculations, they failed to calculate that the brown people ain't gone nowhere and they coming back because they are now the largest minority. Black folks ain't the largest minority no more.
Do you remember Richard Pryor, what he said? I won't say it on there, but you remember what Richard Pryor said when they started bringing the Vietnamese over here? You remember that? Okay.
You can clean it up.
He said, white folk got them some new Negroes.
Okay.
I said, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When they start bringing it, but anything that they can do to put anyone between us and them, they do. The 1964 Kerner Commission report, 1968 Kerner Commission report talks about all of this because it talks about what causes poverty, what causes crime. And while poverty is the cause of crime, when they had a commission, President Johnson put a commission together.
Yep.
And they had Democrats, Republicans, black folk, white folk, and they did the study. And poverty is the arm of systemic racism. And see, what will happen is there's a nice neighborhood. And when folk with money and of European descent move out, and then black folk move in because they want something nice. But when the other folk move out, they stop putting money into that. They don't fix the streets.
Yeah.
They close the schools, and see, they start closing the banks and gave us payday loans.
Yes. Yes. And then try to let them run roughshod over the whole community.
And they were charging 38% interest.
And so when you are not teaching people, finance and what money is and how money works, and then take the real systems out of the communities and bring in these loan sharks, legal loan sharks, people find themselves in a perpetual cycle of poverty.
Hi, I'm Dr. Valerie McCray, and I'm a clinical psychologist from Indiana. I'm running for U.S. Senate because enough is enough. We've had enough of unlivable wages, ridiculous healthcare and pharmaceutical costs, housing that is increasingly unaffordable, and the turning back of women's healthcare rights. Go to ValerieMcCray.org. Push that donate button. Together, we can fix this. I'm Dr. Valerie McCray, and I'm running for U.S. Senate because for the last 35 years, I've worked in the prisons in Indiana and across Georgia, and I've worked with the military. And it's like I've listened to 5 different wars. And when I'm not there, I'm in another war, because I work with Stop the Violence in Indiana. And I'm in a war with the young people who have been shot several times, or someone in their family has been lost. And people ask me, why are you running for U.S. Senate? And I said, because I've worked in the prisons, because I've worked with the military, because I've worked with these young people. I don't have a right to not fight for these people. I don't have a right to stop. Just to give you a background, there has never been a female, need alone a black female, who has been on the ballot for U.S. Senate in Indiana. If you want someone to represent you for affordable housing, for wages that make sense, for women's rights, go to ValerieMcCray.org. Thank you in advance, and I'll meet you at the polls on May 7th.
Paid for and authorized by Friends of Valerie McCray. So how do we stop it? How do we know what they're doing. We see the blueprint. How do we stop it? How do we convince our communities that there's a way for us to prevent this? How do we get people engaged?
Educate, 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 educate. See, if you notice, Dana, I'm a lot older than you, but when I went to school,
you don't look like it.
But when I went to school 37, all of our teachers were of African American descent.
Wow.
All of them. When I went to Tech, probably a third of them. And now it's hard to find, especially an African American male, teaching.
I never saw an African American male be a teacher. I saw him be a coach and then monitor study hall, but I never saw. I'll take that back. There was one music teacher at North Central. I never actually had a black teacher when I went through school as well. Like, and I'm young. I graduated high school in '88. So, it's not like I'm a millennial. I'm a Gen Xer. So, and it's always been, but then I also went to Washington Township School. So, I grew up
46218.
Okay. I grew up in 08.
Okay. And when you say this ain't Hollywood, it's Brightwood.
You know what though? I think it's interesting. I'm glad you brought up Brightwood, and I love that you are not ashamed, afraid, or anything about where you come from. Talk about how coming from where you came from made you the man that you are.
Well, in Brightwood, loyalty was everything. Loyalty was everything. If me and your brother got into a fight and someone outside of Brightwood came, wanted to jump on him, we would stop fighting each other and whoop that guy.
Okay.
Yeah, because you come in and interrupting the family. Okay. The loyalty and to understand what's going on around you. See, like, people ask me, how did you find out about that? I do ghetto surveys. I come dead at the ghetto, okay? I can find out what I want to know, and I can get done what I need to get done. because I'm a ghetto brother.
Okay.
I'm saying I'm state
Ghetto
representative now,
side.
but I understand the inner workings of the streets. I came up in the streets.
And you weren't trying to get out because you still live real close to the neighborhood that you grew up in.
Yeah, and I get my car washed in Brightwood. I'm saying
Right.
I buy fish in Brightwood. I'm saying that's home.
Yeah.
Martin University is in Brightwood. Yeah. And I was chair of the board there. Well, I was on that board for 6 years, and I chaired the board for 4.
Yeah.
I'm saying, and when I was there was no graffiti on Martin University. That nobody got hurt because I would go up on the corner. I say, hey, look out for us down there now. And all the thugs, so all right, we got you, OG.
That's what's up.
And nothing happened. Yeah.
You know, how were you able to resist the temptation of, you know how sometimes we Black folks, we can get a little bougie when we get a little status, a little power. How did you resist and keep it real? Was it, was there anything that you were taught as a young person that said, nah, I'm not getting down like that?
I was very, very fortunate to have a 2-parent home. My dad was a man, and my situation is the same way. My mama ran the house, but my daddy was man of the house.
Got it.
Okay. Mama did things, but when daddy said no, it was no. Daddy said yes, it was yes. I don't care. When daddy spoke, everybody listened. That's pretty much the way I am. But my mama, she ran the house. Now, when I came up, if we down on this end of the street and we getting a little rowdy, Big Mama Black said, Bartlett, come here. Y'all be quiet.
Yeah. And
I mumbled something going away. Then when she called me back and whipped my behind, that's when I learned to pray. Please don't call my mom and daddy and let them know that I got a whooping. Yeah. Because when you get home,
you get it again.
Yeah, because see, my dad, we had a breakfast bar, and he'd be sitting at the end of the bar, and my dad would eat with his eyes closed. He'd be sitting there by himself, sometimes eating, not at dinner, but if he's eating a snack or something. And we call them neck bones now, but back in the day, we called them shoulder bones. And my dad loved shoulder bones. And you come in the house, hi, Dad. How you doing, son? You been embarrassing our family name? No, sir. So Miss Black lied, and you cannot say yes to that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because if you said a grown person lied, I mean that was almost like a death sentence. So if you say no sir, then you've been embarrassing our family name. Going back there, I'll be back there, and you knew what that was about.
Uncle John, what's interesting is like I'm listening to you tell the stories and I'm listening to you talk about the things that you care about. And you're like the perfect cross section between what's happening in modern day and what's going on now and what happened in the past. And it's almost like, you were the ultimate conduit to bridge the two. And it's actually probably 3 different generations because human trafficking is and cutting up body parts may not be a new phenomenon, but how they're doing it is definitely a modern way of doing things. You understanding that they're taking cursive writing out and what that means, but also talk and reaching back and going, no, I'm gonna be like this because this is how I raised. Won't y'all listen to me? I feel like we're, you're like a sage or a guru in the community. I feel like we don't have enough of those. How do we find?
Let me say this. As you know, I do not accept awards.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't? Okay. I do not accept awards. Here's my thoughts about that. Mayor Joe Hawk said, we met up in Lincoln Square for breakfast one day, and he said, Ralph, got a question for you. A lot of people have asked me, and quite honestly, I like to know myself. So what's your question? He said, why won't you accept awards? He said, there's a lot of people want to give you an award and you want to accept awards. As a matter of fact, I wanted to give you an award. I said, Mr. Mayor, let me share something, a couple of things with you. I said, first off, if you heard I was the best painter in the state of Indiana and your house needs painting, and you call me and I come out and I say, okay, I'll take care of this. I'll start Monday morning at 8 o'clock. I'll be done before noon Friday. It's going to be $2,000. So I can get it done cheaper. Fine.
Right.
But if you want the best, it's going to cost you $2,000. So we agreed. So Monday morning, you look out your bedroom window at 8 o'clock. I'm on the job. 11 o'clock Friday, I ring your doorbell and say, hey, I'm done. You come out, you look at your house, you cannot find a flaw any place. We sit down at your kitchen table, you write me a check for $2,000. It's okay. Where does the award come in? I did everything I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
And you did everything you said you was going to do. We're even.
But
when I go and ask someone to vote for me, you pay me up front. I tell you I'm going to do all these great things. So you vote for me on the strength of my word. But you don't know if I'm going to do it or not. But if I do everything I said I was going to do, I've already received payment. I got your vote. Where does the award come in?
But see, I think the award comes in because some folks, like such as yourself, go above and beyond what you promised. Right? You got a payment, you got the vote because you said you were going to do these things. But I've witnessed personally where you've gone above and beyond what you said you was going to do. So that's where the award, in my opinion, I think you do deserve accolades. I think you do deserve people to tip their hat and say, yes, sir, no, sir, because you are pushing the buttons. You have had influence in the state in ways that people don't understand, and you do it softly. Right? Well,
let me say this to you. If I know you don't have children.
No.
But you
my
got
mama
sisters,
warned
brothers?
me. She said if I had kids, I was gonna get back twice what I gave her. So that was a hint.
Well, here's the thing. That you got nieces and nephews?
I do.
Okay. If they came to you and said, Dana, Mr. Bartlett, we was about to be killed and Mr. Bartlett came through and saved our life. How would you feel about me after that?
I would love you even more because you would probably have sacrificed yourself to save my kids, but I wouldn't if you.
But okay, let me finish.
All right.
I believe that all of us are God's children.
Mm-hmm.
So if I do my job and work for all of God's children, I don't need no award down here. When I get to the other side, I got a reward coming.
I feel that. I feel that. Amen. Amen. I feel that. It's probably is that why you don't drink as well?
Probably. But see, when I grew up in Brightwood, when I graduated from tech, I weighed 118 pounds.
Bro.
Now, I didn't say I wouldn't get whooped, but I wasn't going to be drunk. Didn't know who did it. Because I got to come back and see you.
You was thinking ahead. You was like, look, this ain't going to be good for me if I'm not careful. I got you.
Yeah.
This year you have an opponent in the primary, and I
yes.
I've already interviewed them, and this is not what I'm talking about. What I want to know is, we talk about human trafficking and we touched on a lot of subjects, but talk about the things that you are going to try to push for if you win in the next cycle, so that people can put a contrast between you and your opponent. What are the things that you will be focused in on if you were to assume office again in January?
Well, I do plan to assume office again in January. And I had a bill that did not get a hearing. I had several bills that did not get a hearing. Matter of fact, none of my bills got a hearing this time, but they were out there. And the late Senator Jean Breaux used to say that I was a visionary. I see things before other folk catch up. That was her opinion. But I have a bill on criminal justice reform.
Okay.
And that's extremely important. Now, I understand that most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, folk in prison it's because they did something wrong. But they're yet human.
Mm-hmm.
And as I understand it, I've not finished the research, but if you're incarcerated for 18 months or more, it's at least 5 years before you can reproduce a child because of the chemicals and the inferior food that you're fed while you're incarcerated.
What?
Yeah. And so, and I just learned 2 weeks ago that prison foods are not regulated by the federal
FDA?
The FDA or USDA.
Mm.
So there's no federal regulations over prison food. And we're feeding our inmates inferior food. And I'm being told that it comes in not for human consumption or zoo food. And so, and I've talked to some ex-inmates who told me I'm on the right track.
Hmm.
And so this next legislative session, I want to do an intensive study on the foods that go into prison. And this is across the nation. No prison has regulated food.
Well, and these are state prisons, so they should be regulated.
Yeah. But they do as cheap as they possibly can.
Yeah.
And so those folk do not have a voice. And so someone has to speak for them, and that would be me. Another bill I have is high fructose corn syrup.
Mm.
See, high fructose corn syrup is in ketchup, it's in steak sauce, it's in jellies,
it's everything.
It's in sodas. And it causes obesity, it causes diabetes, it causes fatty of the liver, some heart disease, and some heart and other organs.
Mm.
And we're feeding that to the masses.
Mm.
And no one is talking about it. So I had a bill to do away with it. And they told me to be careful because the food industry is going to come after me. But I'll be 76 in June. So, like, come on with it.
Come on with it, Gemini. Come on with it.
But then there are also two other chemicals that are in our foods. One is atrazine, atrazine. And I want you to check out what I'm telling you. Don't just take my word for it. You look it up. Atrazine is a chemical that they use to grow corn. And the University of California, Berkeley did a study on atrazine. They fed atrazine to 10 male frogs. 3 became sterile, 7 turned into female.
Interesting.
Now, psychiatrists and psychologists agree that the human mind is not fully developed to age 25, 27, somewhere along in that area. And then ractopamine, ractopamine, is a chemical that they feed cows and hogs. It makes them grow quicker, makes them grow stronger, and it gives them more mass. But it also makes them violent.
Mm.
So you are what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
There are 110 countries that would not allow beef or pork into that country if it's infected with a ractopamine chemical.
Mm.
So back when I was coming along, if me and your big brother got into a shouting match, and I said, well, we're gonna fight. Man, I don't want to fight you. I've known you all my life. I mean, we out of Brightwood together. I just don't want to fight you. And he turns to walk away because he wants to be the bigger person. I ain't got to say but 2 words. Your mama. And let me tell you something. Now, we can rearrange some furniture now.
Okay.
Yeah. See, there's nothing else to talk about. Yeah. But back then, see, we respected mama, grandmama. Mm-hmm. Now, children talk back to mama.
Yeah.
Fuss at mama, cuss mama out, jump on mama. And there's so much documentation where children have killed mama and grandmama. Okay. But that chemical that we're putting in our bodies in those undeveloped minds is creating so much of this. Wow. And we don't talk about it.
No. Wow. You know what? There's definitely an evidence. It's evident that you love people, and you are definitely a servant of the people. And the things that they're not flashy and splashy and big headlining, but they are, the crux of humanity and what makes us us. And I really do appreciate you doing the research and understanding what will make us better humans all the way around. Representative John Bartlett, tell the people where they can find you.
In the hood.
Do you have any fundraisers? Are you door knocking or doing anything coming up soon?
I'm door knocking. I've had a couple fundraisers, and right now we're just waiting on the next 11 days so we can get this behind us and get back to work on the people's business.
I love it.
There's so much work to be done, and one of the reasons why I wanted to bring someone behind me so that they can understand how to get it done. And now I serve on agriculture, labor and pensions, and government regulatory reform. But I'm the only African American on the agriculture committee, and I asked to get on the agriculture committee because I need to know what's going on with my grandbabies and my great grandbabies and what they're putting in their systems. So it's not a flamboyant committee, and that's okay.
It's all right.
But I learned from it. I think I serve on the governor's commission for supply and diversity, and I had a bill in, and I had a Republican co-author, and we've gained some support. So that'll be coming back in 2025. I've been on the governor's commission for supply and diversity. We changed the name of it. It used to be minority and WBE, MBE, but I've been on this for a little over 12 years. And the colleges have never met their goals since I've been on there for minority, for women, or for veterans. So I had a bill with a Republican co-author that said, if you miss your goal by 20%, we're going to withhold 20% of your money. And of course, they hit the ceiling. But my Republican co-author has been talking on her side because no one understood why I was doing that. And she's on the Supply and Diversity Commission as well. And they want to know why she co-authored that bill. And after she started explaining it to them, they said, oh, okay. So now there's some more of them wanting to be a part of that because Black folk pay taxes.
Yes, we do.
Latinos pay taxes.
Yes, we do.
Women pay taxes. Veterans pay taxes. So if you're going to use our tax dollars, and the study has told us how many Black folk, how many women, how many veterans you should have on these contracts that you let out in your schools, because these are all, you're supported by state dollars. Then you need to meet these goals, and there's never been a penalty for not meeting those goals. So my bill says, if you miss it by 20%, we're going to keep 20% of your money. Now, when I told the commission and the folk who were there what my plans were and my intention, because I'm transparent, then after that meeting, everybody had a good idea of what I should do. Like, don't hold it back. Just put it into a special fund, and then only minorities, women, and veterans can draw for that. And then someone said, well, penalize the schools one time and then see how that works. I said, you know what? Y'all have had 12 years to come up with a solution. When I come up with one, now everybody got a good idea. If our institutions, our universities teach folk how to do whatever their profession is, why can't they teach folk how to meet the goals of supply and diversity?
Yeah.
And if I'm going to your university and every quarter that I come, I've got a different excuse, would I be able to graduate from your university? And everybody got quiet. Powerful.
Well, Representative Bartlett, my goodness. This is the third time you've been on the show, and I am always so grateful that you offer, you're gracious with your time, and I learn something every time I talk to you. And I wrote an article in the IBJ last week honoring Senator Bro, and I was telling people, sit down and talk to your elders, sit down and having a conversation with those that have been here before. You gonna get fed. And today, if you didn't get fed, you wasn't paying attention to Uncle John. You wasn't paying attention. you know what? I wish you the best of luck in the campaign and early voting. Obviously, everybody is underway. You know me, I stay neutral, but, you know, I got a chance to hear both candidates because the east side of Indianapolis has been neglected, and we've got people that want to represent us and are representing us and are fighting for us, not just where we exist today, but our future. This man talked about making sure your grandkids didn't have poisons put in your body. Think about that. So when you're in the voting booth, you've heard from these candidates, just remember to get out and vote. Don't mess around. Don't play. Your non-vote is a vote. You would rather have somebody else create policy that is going to happen to you instead of you influencing policy. Just remember that. Uncle John,
Yes, ma'am.
Bartlett, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate your time.
Let me say this. Vote. Please vote. Here's the thing. If I barely win, I barely have a voice. But if I win big, if I got 90% of the vote out of my district, when I speak, I'm speaking because there's 68,000 people in House District 95. If I get 90% of that, when I speak, I'm speaking for 90% of 68,000 people.
I love it.
If you win by 50.2%, you barely made it. So your voice is not as strong as it is when those folks. So please get out and vote.
That's it. Get out and vote. All right, Uncle John, I'll see you around the way because I know where you at.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one.
Stay strong.
Democrats, are you looking for an affordable digital content creation solution? Then look no further than Black Pearl IT Solutions and Black Pearl Studios. Indiana's own Dana Black is providing many of the communication wraparound services any Democratic organization needs. No matter the size of the budget, Indiana's own and Black Pearl Studios have you covered. Just scan the QR code or visit www.blackpearl-its.com. All right. It is always a joy to talk to Representative John Bartlett, an OG, Uncle John. Every time I sit down and talk to him, he's ready to give me some wisdom. So I hope, you young folks are listening and soaking it all up. And I love how he's so cool because I don't know if I could be that cool in the State House the way they are. I sit around and text him. I'm like, are y'all all right? I text J.D. Ford, are you all right? Senator Taylor, all of them, Senator Yoder, just to let them know, we appreciate them and all the hard work that they're doing in the State House. Many of y'all be at work during the day, but I'm at home cussing. And shout out to candidate for the United States Senate, Valerie McCray, who is now also advertising on Turn Left Black Pearl Studios. Y'all, thank y'all so much for supporting Black businesses, woman-owned businesses, LGBTQ plus business. Yes, I'm all of those things. And if you want to advertise your campaign video, just let me know and we'll get it in on a show, let you know how long it runs, make sure that your message can get out to people because that's what we're here for, right? We're here to highlight and amplify these amazing candidates who are trying to represent you at all levels of government. Hey, but something I want to let you know about, y'all know how much I love HWF, also known as Hoosier Women Forward. Hey, their application period is going to be opening up soon. So please, if you're interested, check out this little message that we have for you from Hoosier Women Forward. Democratic Women of Indiana, Hoosier Women Forward Class 7 application period opens May 7th, 2024.
Hoosier Women Forward is changing the future of Indiana. In a state where half the population is women, only 27% of our elected state house officials are women. That's why we're empowering women to take the lead, run, and win.
This program not only equips women with the skills to be leaders in our communities, it builds a strong network and sisterhood who continue to inspire one another to grow and lead in boardrooms, corner offices, and elected positions across the state.
Indiana Hoosier Women Forward program is one of the best programs I've ever been a part of. It's really important for the next generation of female leaders to apply to Hoosier Women Forward. The amount of experience and expertise that we've been able to have access to has been life-changing.
I am so proud to be a member of Hoosier Women Forward's sixth class of leaders who are changing the political landscape of our state.
What this organization means to me is that I have a lifetime network of hardworking, determined, fierce women in Hoosier Democratic politics that will always have my back.
Being a part of Hoosier Women Forward has been amazing for the last several years. As a former candidate for the Indiana State House, the policy knowledge, the personal connections, and really just the sisterhood of women in Democratic politics has meant so much to me.
I really have enjoyed the Hoosier Women Forward program for a lot of different reasons, but the biggest reason for me was really that personal woman empowerment.
Something that I've really liked about being a part of this class and being a part of the Hoosier Women Forward network and group is that, one, I get to be surrounded by passionate women who are committed to making our state a better state for everyone.
I would encourage any woman, any Hoosier woman, to apply for Hoosier Women Forward because you're going to be inspired and you're going to have a group of sisters to always encourage you and help you along the way.
To apply, visit our website, www.HoosierWomenForward.org/apply. Application period closes June 18th, 2024. Okay, so if you are interested in Hoosier Women Forward, make sure that you go to the website and you scan the QR code. Get yourself involved. It's a tough selection process for Class 7. There will only be 25 seats, so make sure you follow all of the directions. Make sure you get your reference letters, all the things that you need, so that you can have a better chance of being selected. Guys, thanks again for tuning in to Turn Left. I am so excited. We have one more show before the primary election. We'll talk about what's important. This week we heard from candidates who are running for at-large seats at the county level. As you know, you cannot just do straight party ticket. You have to go down and select those at-large candidates at the county level. So make your plan to go vote, right? Don't be tripping. Don't be like, oh my God, I forgot. May 7th is the election day, but early voting is already underway. So make sure you get out and cast your vote. And be sure to tune in next week so that you can hear from some more candidates who are going to be on your ballot. I will holler at y'all next time. Peace. Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.